Hi, all. I'm Kimberly Hunt with Revision Division, and we'll get started in probably about 30 seconds or so. I'm a little nervous about the tech, but it's going to be fine. We're going to have fun. I will be here shortly with TK Richards. She's the author of the Hummus series and so graciously allowed me to read her novel. The first book is which one we'll be diving into. And she allowed me to look through her book, do a little evaluation, and make some comments about structure, which is what I was studying. So we'll give TK a chance here to get set up. And but let me just kind of give a little intro to say hi again to those that are just joining, that I'm Kimberly Hunt with Revision Division. And as TK gets her sound and all set, we'll get started in just a minute. But we have a special live video today to discuss the structure of romance novels. I was so excited. Every year, I'll try to take on some courses to maintain certifications or add new certifications, just keep my skills fresh. And TK was nice enough to let me read her novel and assess it for structure. I was very keen to take a look at romance novels and breaking down just the genre expectations and how it all works together. Let's see here if we can hear see. Hey, are you with us?
Yeah, I was deciding if I should screen record.
Oh, don't worry. I've got it recorded. I'll send it to you afterwards.
Thank you. How are you?
Sure. I'm well, and you?
I'm fine. I didn't know exactly what I would look like on here, and I had my camera this way.
Mm-hmm.
I had to switch it up and turn it the long way because it had me going horizontal instead of vertical.
No good. No good. Yeah, the vertical's showing off the COVID hair. Like I haven't had a haircut in 7 months.
I think I didn't know if I was tilted or not. I tried to come in here earlier, and then I said, well, maybe somebody will think I'm already in there.
Yep, we've got it. We're live and we're excited. And let's just, no judgment. We're new at this. We're doing the first live video together, so it's going to be awesome.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you a chance to get it squared away. So just real quick, while you're getting set up, I wanted to let our followers know that on the Revision Division Tips blog, you'll find book reviews and send us suggestions. I'm always reading, always. And then you'll also find writing and editing help, author interviews such as this one today. You're in for a treat. We have, to recap just again, for those joining, I'm Kimberly Hunt, and I'm here with TK Richards for Revision Division's first live author interview. So let me get you back.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
All right. Hey, Melody, thanks for joining. So let me just say welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this, for offering up your novel and your time. It's most appreciated.
Thank you. I'm actually happy you chose my book. I had been going through some little issues of, being self-published and trying to reach out for, to people to proofread. And, sometimes you can be a burden to your friends. Out to another proofreading editing company and I didn't hear back. So when I saw your ad, I was like, please let her pick me. This is like perfect timing. And you did. So that worked out.
Yeah, it's beneficial for both of us. It was awesome for me to be able to, like I said, it was for this idea of studying the structure of romance novels. So it was very exciting to have something I was interested in reading, because that was definitely, send me the blurb. That was part of the submission package, was to make sure it was something that I was going to commit fully to and not have to kind of slog through.
Okay, so romance thing.
Exactly. So what we're talking about today, it's a little bit, I'm going to ask you some questions about you so the followers and fans can understand you as a person and your background, where you're coming to from as an author. And then we'll dig into writing and editing and then more geek out over the actual structural elements of the book. But I just wanted to remind everybody again that we are going to talk about TK Richards' first book in her Hummus series called An Affair Abroad. And TK, I mentioned you mentioned, or I read somewhere that you were a former musician, and is it true that you're a current author of 7 novels? Do I have that right?
I have written 7. I took them down to be re-edited. I got excited when I got books, so I took everything down, I think, except for 3 of them. And I actually had plans to talk to you after this was over to try to get you to get in the other 4.
Hmm. That's awesome. But that's in such a short span too. It was like 5 years that you've written all of that.
Yes, I don't know what took me so long. And then once I started, the ball just got rolling. And actually, I go to bed every night with a book in my head. I'm a dreamer. So I see every night, and then I'll be up until like 2 or 3, sometimes 5, and I have to get it out.
Oh,
So
amazing. So how did you find your way from writing music to novels? It's so much more.
um actually, I my mom says that this was my calling. I kind of, how can I say it? I always did have a vivid imagination. And I used to would say that I would be a writer when I was a kid, but then the music bug hit me because my dad was a musician. So I took my storytelling from books to actually writing music, both hip hop, rap. We tell stories in it. So I
Sure.
got I kind of sidetracked, and the music was just calling me, and I left the writing books and writing stories on the back burner. And I I didn't remember this. My mom has a plaque that says I think I was in 5th grade. I got an award. We have the BSAP or the CTBS in our statewide tests. I
Hmm.
did. Uh, I got the best or excellence in expository writing or something. I actually forgot
Awesome.
about that. I only remember the Poet Laureate Award. But when she told me that, I was like, so this kind of really has been my thing. And
Hmm.
I would just write stories, but I would never let them see the light of day. And then it just went into the music of telling the stories. But thank goodness I am no longer doing that. I have grown up.
Awesome.
She's happy too.
So when you're not writing, how do you spend your days now?
Boring. Um, homeschooling, homeschooling, homeschooling. I do write all the time. I have my little recorder on my phone, and I could like be
Hmm.
writing or something, and I'll put my earpiece in and I'll like speak lowly so he can't hear me into my phone. If we're going on a long road trip, I have my computer, and if he's driving, I'll just, just click, 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 click away in his ears. And pretty much that's it. I do like tennis a lot. If anybody follows my page, I'm a big tennis nut. So you'll see me on the tennis court with my daughter. But other
That's
than that,
awesome.
it's homeschooling, writing, and
I
cleaning up.
admire admire your patience. I have a new appreciation for just how much support they need now that I have 3 trying to do it homeschooling virtually. And it's not easy.
I had a little bit of leeway though. I took my daughter out of school before the pandemic, so I had a year experience of the
Yeah.
homeschooling. So I didn't have the panic at the last minute like most parents, and
Hmm.
it was an easy transition in for me. But she said she's not going back to regular school, so I'm in it for the
Yeah.
long haul.
You must be doing something right then. So you mentioned when we were preparing for this, you mentioned that before you were homeschooling, you would volunteer in your daughter's school, and I just thought that was amazing because I've tried that, and the teachers took pity on my aversion to the noise and the mess, and sent me off to make copies. So can you
Um,
tell me what else that you do to give back? You mentioned tennis, and I think you've got something there as well.
Yeah, a little girl actually saw me playing with my daughter one day, and she asked if she could hit with me. And my daughter's a bit jealous, but I said, sure. Um, I went to the court with my husband, and I hit balls with her. And her mom said that she really wanted to do it, what I actually teach her, and she would pay me. And I told her, I'm not certified, so I can't charge you. But of course, whenever we come out here, I'll do it. And she will meet me out there, and we'll hit balls together. So I guess that's one way of giving back because I would
It
never.
is.
like one of my little buddy buddies, I call her now. And
Awesome.
at the school, I actually volunteered when my daughter was in regular school, whatever they needed. I think there was like an Eaglet ambassador program or something. We would do that. And if they needed like moms to come and sit in and do something or go on field trips, I would do that type of volunteer, with them.
Right.
But other than that, I do give away a lot of clothes to the needy.
I saw your giveaway for people watching tonight. That's so awesome.
Yeah, something away. I used to be a big shopaholic, and I am still going through clothes and clothes and clothes. So if they don't sell like on Poshmark, I have like boxes, and I take them to Goodwill or this thing they have down here called Sister Care.
Mm-hmm.
The supply clothing for women in the work that needed clothes in the workforce,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just drop them off down there. So if that's volunteering, that also.
Yeah, awesome. Very good. So speaking of free help, I need to do a little plug for our Facebook group so other authors can find you and I in Revision Division's vault. So in there, it's a great collection of people willing to collaborate. So we have authors of all experience levels from just beginning to published. Most of them are focused on fiction and self-publishing, but we have a few that are querying. And what's great is that besides other authors and editors like me, you'll find like readers too. So people who will review for you or beta read. You'll find cover designers and formatters, and it's just a great group for just judgment-free asking for help and helping each other out. So wanted to let everybody know about that.
I enjoy
And
article members actually plug in there. I actually go and read a lot of them.
yeah, that's good. All right. So what can you tell the readers about what they can find in Nadia that's part of you? No, and in case anybody has not read Hummus and Affair Abroad, Nadia is the main character.
I would say her naivete. Motherhood changed me. I am nothing like I used to be, which we all grow. I'm a Leo, so I was very flamboyant. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be the center of attention. I wanted people talking about me, and I was very self-assured. And motherhood has given me a fear of heights. I second guess everything, and I'm very naive. You could like get away with practical jokes on me. And like one of my buddies, when I used to work at this horrible place, he would say these things, and I would walk off and go, oh, I should have said that like 5 minutes ago. So you'll see a lot of me in those characteristics with her when she'll think about something she should have said in the moment. Because actually you'll learn in book 2 that all friends aren't your friends. There's a lot of times where she'll have a lot of moments where she should have said that, but she just wasn't as quick with it. And I don't know why I've changed into this person, but I think it's motherhood. I'm just like another sitting person here that looks in the mirror like, who are you? And she does that a lot.
Hey, I see we have Michelle too, and she's giving you props saying homeschooling takes up a lot of time. So I don't know how you find time to write.
Yeah. I'm up at least till 2 or 3 every night. If it's a really big night, it's till 5. And my husband's gotten used to it. It used to be a problem in the beginning. If I have to take a break, I'll take a break. But he's used to clicking keys in the middle of the night, and I try to do it as soft as I can. But he knows if she's over there, something has come to her in her head, she has to get it out.
For sure.
It's done.
Did you want to share one of your cherished bits, or am I free to read what I found to be so
yes,
endearing? Sorry, say it again.
Please, because I'm shy to read it.
All right, I will read it then. So I was reading this and just felt Nadia was, I admired her independence and the strength of friendships, which one of the other authors who is watching tonight, Melody, she has a series of 3 books as well, and hers are strong friendships. Like that is the cornerstone of the series. So clearly it's a theme that I enjoy. Yes. But I just wanted to read for your fans and mine this hilarious part of your book, which comes very early on, gives us a great introduction. Um, so she's talking with her friends, and this is the scene where Kai, am I saying her name Kai, or is it Kaya?
Yes, it's Kai.
Kai offers her hand-me-down man, and I found this to be hysterical. So Kai suggests, let us set you up with someone. And Shannon says, I'm not donating my reserve dick. Wait, what? I asked. I don't want any of your hand-me-downs. I can find a man on my own, thank you. It's not about finding a man. It's about getting you laid with some good D so you can move on with your life. I knew a guy so hung he gave me a bladder infection. You might be able to handle him. I sure couldn't, said Kai. Thanks, but no, no thanks to the emergency room dick. I'll pass.
Yes. Been able to read.
It's just awesome. And there's more, like I said, that's the beginning way to hook them and carry them through the novel.
Thank you.
So talking about strong and funny heroines, how about we get some thumbs up, let TK Richards know that you like what she has written, and show your support. So now we're going to talk about writing. And I don't know if you want me to read the blurb from Hummus and Affair Abroad, or if we just want to, maybe instead of me reading it, you just could tell us about it.
Let's see. Which one would be shorter? The blurb would probably be shorter. I could read that because there isn't anything sultry in the blurb. I get nervous on that part. The blurb reads, like many women, Nadia Melton has given up on finding love. Since her last breakup with a serial cheater, connecting with men has been hard and trusting them harder. Enter Maximus Sharper, a sultry, sought-after mixologist. Nadia captures the attention of the celebrated DJ while visiting London for a close friend's wedding. The chemistry between the two strangers is unmatched, weakening the tight strings Nadia has placed around her heart as they embark on a whirlwind romance. Despite their differences in culture and recovering from past traumas, they discover love has found them. The physical and emotional connection Nadia develops with Maximus during her 7 days with him forces her to make life-changing decisions for the sake of love. Has she finally found what she's been searching for, and can they go the distance? And a quote from the book, There Will Be No Lovemaking Tonight.
Awesome.
Do that.
Thank you for sharing that. So can you let us know, how did Hummus begin? Was it an idea that you sat down and plotted out, or was it a story that spilled from you?
It actually came from a conversation through what do you call the joint text with the group text?
Mm-hmm.
I have a crush on a certain celebrity that my friends don't seem to understand. And I've been like secretly recording his movies on the DVR and telling my husband why that's recorded on there. And I was telling him about the story of how he saw one of his movies recorded on my DVR. And they were like, what is it with you guys? And I was like, well, if he's not hot, tell me who you think is hot. And they started calling out names that I didn't agree with, and they don't agree with mine. And then a friend of mine, I hope she doesn't mind if I say her name, Trish, made the other funny statement in the book, hummus sounds more like hum ass. And I stopped laughing about it. So the next day I said, read through our transcript and you guys are going to laugh today. And we read it. We were like, we say the dumbest things when we're talking to each other. And I said, I'm going to write a book about it. And they said, you should write a book. And in like maybe 4 weeks or 5 weeks, I wrote it.
Wow, that fast. Mm-hmm. All right, so the comments are rolling in. They want to know, who is he?
I don't think he'll see it, so I'll say it's Theo James.
I don't know who that is. Tell me a movie.
Let's see. Most people know him from Divergent.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or
see, and that's the problem. I read, and I watch nothing.
Then what else is he in? He was in a couple of Netflix movies recently. I think it was called How It Ends. and Lying and Stealing with that famous pretty girl everybody likes, Emily somebody. He's like the Pierce, the older generation knows. I think his name is Pierce Bronson. He's like
Bronson? Yeah.
a version of him.
Tall, dark, and handsome. Yeah, I'll be Googling him later. We'll figure that out. I'll correct that situation. So, what research did you do to write the book? You had that idea and you wrote it so quickly. Please tell me that you traveled to all the lovely settings.
Really, I did not.
Oh.
I have never left the country.
Oh my goodness.
I have a fear of going somewhere and not being able to get back. So I travel within the country. So if I have to walk home, I can walk home. But I don't like to be away from my house a lot of days at a time. There's been several like trips my husband and I will plan for 5 days. We'll cut it short in like 3 or 4 because we're ready to go home. I just like being home. So traveling out of the country, just it wasn't a thing. But as I was like envisioning where I would go, and the city of London came up, there's a stylist that I followed. She had recently taken a trip to see her sister over in Europe, and they posted all of these beautiful pictures in London. Then they like posted their travel on the train going to France. So like Instagram stories was a lot of research because I would just watch their stories and like screen record and pause and, well, I'm going to write about that, what I see. And then I follow a lot of makeup artists because I laugh at this. I'm like I don't post the pictures, but I'm one of those people that try to follow the YouTube tutorials on makeup. And a lot of them are like over in Europe and traveling back and forth to New York or whatever. And I just look at their stories and go, that looks interesting. That looks interesting. Pause it and just write about whatever I see in the background if I need something for a description. But like leaving the country, it hasn't happened yet. It was going, but COVID happened.
Sure. Well, at least your settings are authentic sounding. So I guess your research paid off.
This one woman now, Ibiza is the place that really grabbed me. I called it Ibiza. I didn't know it was pronounced Ibiza when I wrote the book. A makeup artist was over there and she was doing an Instagram story, and there's rumors about the rock as Vedra, that it has so much magnetic ability that you can see it do something to your emojis on your phone. So she put like one of the happy face emojis and held her phone out, and the emoji started like moving this way towards it. And I was like, I have to go and see that rock. I have to go and see it. A little bit of me is into geology. I didn't know that, which Nadia also finds out. But I saw that and I was like, this is where I want to go. So I put it in the book.
Nice. And on the bucket list.
Yes.
So what other romance authors have you enjoyed? Are there books or blogs or other resources on writing that have helped develop your style?
I don't know about developing my style, but I consider Elizabeth Gilbert to be a romance author. And Eat, Pray, Love changed my life. I was going through a very dark period on a job I hated, and I would go and work out and I would just read that book. And honestly, by the time I finished her book, I felt better. And then somebody introduced me to Kennedy Ryan's The Kingmaker.
Yeah.
There were nights when I would hear myself going, mine, mine, mine.
I love her. I saw, I think she and Lucy Score did some sort of I don't know if it was an interview of each other or some promotion on Instagram where they were both talking, and they are two of my favorites. So I was in heaven. And there's like chaos in the background with children and, begging for dinner. And I'm like, shh, I'm watching something.
And I hope she saved it.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Okay. But yeah, I like those two. There was another person, Monty Boyce. She's self-published. I like.
Yes.
She did a recent release about a book in Ireland. It's something in Dublin. That one was really cute, but she has so many works coming out. I can't keep up.
I follow her as well. And I love how she promotes other authors. And so I'm always like, yep, follow, follow. I
Yeah,
trust her.
her and Kenya Goree Bell, they promote a lot of self-published authors.
Say the name again. I missed it.
Kenya Goree Bell.
Okay.
Romance. So her books are funny romantic. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So I think don't have, let me just quick check the comments to see if I've missed any questions here.
Yeah, I can't see them. It's not like Instagram where you can see on both ends.
Yeah, that's why I was most nervous about just the tech. But I did want to ask one more thing before we turn it over to some questions about writing and from our fans. I edit a lot of romance, and sometimes the love is grand, but the intimacy is awkward. And you don't seem to have this problem. So, you mentioned like that you would just record yourself or, you're writing and families around. How do you get comfortable with writing those steamy bits?
I wasn't at first, which is another strange thing. My music was not clean at all. Part of the reason I did give up the industry of writing the music was because my grandmother found one of my rap pads and she said, "This smut will not be in my house."
Oops.
I will never forget that. And she kind of like did something to me to where when I was writing these scenes at first, I couldn't go that far in detail. So I gave a copy of it to one of my friends in a book club.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know what you're trying to do, but why didn't you go into detail there? I was like, well, you knew what they were doing. And she said, no, honey, we read romance.
I laughed and cut out on you. I didn't hear what you said.
My friend, she said, no, honey, we want the details. We read romance novels. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go back in. So I did one sex scene, sent her back the new pages.
Mm-hmm. And
she said, okay, we want more. This is what I'm talking about. So I was like, oh, God, I have to do this. It reminded me of when I used to write The Smut. Then I finished writing all the sex scenes and I read them for my husband. And he looked at me and he was like, do you have to be that descriptive? And I said, I nailed it. So,
there's growth where there's discomfort.
There are other places I want to go. I have 3 books stuck in here, and I think I'm going to do a really raunchy reverse harem. So I think I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're ready to tackle that one?
Yeah.
All right. I'll look forward to it. So we've got some questions rolling in, and let's take this one here from Melody. She's asking, are your friends in your characters? And then I think she followed up with a suggestion about maybe Trish.
Yes. I won't say that one character is one person. I would say maybe one character is a mixture of maybe 3 of my friends. Makes sense. There's a little bit of me in each of them. My husband doesn't think I'm funny. I think I'm hilarious. A lot of people may agree with him or disagree. I don't know. But a lot of the funny banter, I can say, is my sister. I have a twin sister. Mm-hmm. The things that come out of her mouth are hilarious. And I have a best friend named Kiki. When the 3 of us are on the phone, it's pandemonium. I assume they were part of your group text that inspired Hummus to begin with. Actually, no. Kiki wasn't in that. Oh, no. Trish was in that one. She says some things that I would say her and my sister are like this. And then I'm like down here taking notes. I would have never thought of that. So a lot of the hilarious, surprisingly, is not me in there. That's, I would say, Kiki, my sister, and Trish. Which other character? I have a mean character. I don't want to say who that is because that's like a nemesis from way back. Yeah, we don't need to name names then. You don't want any trouble. So a quick reminder for our followers, make sure you turn on notifications and like the Revision Division page for future live videos. So let's dive into the editing and assessing structure.
So buckle up, I'm about to geek out here. But after writing and revising, what types of editors did you work with? If I could just do a quick explanation of to level set, because people define them, it differs by editor. But for me, developmental editing is all about like the plot and the characters, and it's early on. So people will use beta readers or critique partners and friends. And then copy editing, I recommend come much later, so that once you're done with all your global revisions that would like move around scenes, then you want to clean up like punctuation, usage, grammar, spelling, that kind of thing. So tell us like your process. What has Hummus gone through?
Um, I would say maybe 8 revisions. As far as professional, you were the second professional. Um, in the beginning, it was just my friends and one of my nephews read it. It was embarrassing to let him read it, but he can catch an error and he reads fast, so he would look at it and he told me like pages that he found.
Mhm.
Um, and it's so shocking because you don't realize how cross-eyed your eyes become looking at it.
Yeah.
And I would read a page out loud and I would still like not catch that I typed so fast that the word of was not where it should have been. So like on like one of your notes, you didn't give me that one, but I knew what you meant because when I went back through it, I speak a little Geechee and I type the way I speak sometimes. So like there
Mhm.
was a part in there when I said he was inside me. That's how I would speak at home, but the correct way would be he was inside of me. So
Mhm.
like little things like that I would miss and I need another, pair of eyes. So what led me to you, I reached out to one editor and a proofreader. I didn't hear back from them. And there was another person through another group on Facebook. No shade to her, but I didn't realize the cultural difference was going to be an issue. So I
Mhm.
only sent her, I think, 10 pages, and she didn't understand that this is like a type of lingo in certain parts where friends don't necessarily use proper English. And
Right, especially in dialogue, you want it to be authentic. You want it like not only do people interrupt each other like I just did to you, but also they answer each other's unasked questions. Like they kind of make the connection and jump ahead.
yes, so like there was a part in the book, I believe, where I say I want you to come to my spot. She didn't know what I meant, and she said I think you meant to put place here, and I was like, no, I meant to put spot because that's the way those friends are talking. So
Hmm.
the dialogue is there. It's not exactly going to be correct grammar all of the time, but when I'm explaining or doing like a description and just going into the regular book settings, I
Yeah,
do.
the narrative.
Yeah, the narrative needs to be correct language. So when you gave me the notes, I didn't see any of that from you, and I was like, I think I have finally found my person because you didn't do anything with the dialogue. You understood this is how these people are talking, this
Mhm.
is their background, and it's understandable. So coming to finally find you, I would just say that was just a huge blessing because I feel
Oh,
comfortable, and the culture didn't matter. It was just the writing.
that's awesome. That's actually, I think I posted, so you'll have to forgive me if I have my days wrong, but I think I posted today. Sometimes I schedule ahead of time, and I've been posting nonstop about this live video. So Um, but I posted today about how important it is to not just find someone who delivers what you're expecting in an edit, but and clearly that meets fits your budget, but fits your style. Like that's the whole point of doing a sample edit. And hey, Vanna, I see you joined us and have a question. So I'm not going to be a great segue, but I do want to make sure that I answer your question. Vanna would like to know about your writing process, TK. Are you a plotter? Do you use any tools for that if you are? But I think we referenced this earlier.
I really don't have a plan. I actually will write something in full, and then I can actually go back from piece to piece. If I thought about something different, I can go back to that section and change it. I'm not an outliner per se, but there are certain projects that are coming up, and one in the past, I did have outlines like I want this person to say this here, A, B, C, D. then EFG, put the Roman numeral I and add this and add that. I did that once and I really didn't care for it. I wanted to get everything out and then just go back and revise. So I don't think I'm an outliner as far as that being my writing style. It just comes to me and I put it down.
Yeah, one of the guest bloggers that we've had gave her tip for she doesn't do a lot of plotting. She just the story spills from her, and in order to keep that momentum going, if she'll just plug in kind of a comeback here and fact check or put in the details. So I was very interested. I love to hear about everybody's process because it differs so widely.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So we started to talk a little bit about what you thought of my feedback from the romance novel study and the comments on structure. So you received like a manuscript evaluation, which is it's kind of like a mini glimpse into what a developmental edit could do. It just doesn't give you what it does. I feel bad about it, but what it does is it tells you about problems, but not necessarily giving you the answers or the suggestions. Or a lot of times I'll give a suggestion and authors will be like, yeah, thanks, that's nice, but it inspires something better, and that's the good stuff. But with a manuscript evaluation, it's usually here's what I'm assessing, and I'm not offering up a lot of ideas. So give me your thoughts on did it meet your expectations when you received the feedback?
It did, because believe it or not, I am a stickler for perfection, and I know no. And I have a highly intelligent friend. He bought the series for his girlfriend, and I said, "Well, when the revised copy comes out, I'm gonna send that to you." He was like, "Why?" I understood the story. I said, "That one has some errors that I didn't find," and he was like, "Oh my God, what is your problem?" He was like, "The book is fine." He said, "There are traditional published authors who have errors in their books." He was like, "It's not 100%." So that was a notification. Ignore that. So yeah, I really I will say what you said is the truth. It wasn't a full on evaluation, but just reading what you gave me 2 nights ago, I was in here and I rewrote 3 paragraphs.
Awesome.
So
Good. That's good to hear that it was helpful.
yeah.
Yeah, the beauty of the developmental edit, especially, I think manuscript evaluations, like there's one mystery writer that I work with that she is seasoned. She's put out so many novels and doesn't really need my ideas. She just wants the like eagle eye of what are the problems. So the evaluation works well for her. I think for a lot of my indie authors and some of the small publishers I work with, they benefit from the in manuscript comments and suggestions. Like that's super helpful to pinpoint and say, here's the example of where you're telling, and then in the revision summary or revision letter, talking in general about how to identify it in other places, or and referencing back to the example. It's helpful to have that tie.
Yeah, the story versus telling is, I think that's my most difficult challenge,
For
because
many.
I let it get into my head of what somebody else is looking to read versus what I want to say. And
Mm-hmm.
I try to not do it, and I'll go back and reword, and then sometimes I'm like, I just don't like the way that sounds. This is how I want it to come across. So
Right.
yeah.
That's the beauty in revising, though.
Yes. I actually enjoyed those 3 paragraphs that I rewrote better. So thank you again. That was an inspiration just from the notes.
Sure, you're welcome. So let's dig into, I guess, some of the pieces of structure, like the opening. What was Nadia's hangup? Like, if I, like, how does her past hurts play into what the core conflict is in a fair abroad?
She was hurt by someone that she had a 5-year relationship with. Um, that actually happens to a lot of women. I've overheard conversations before pandemic, when we would be out in restaurants, and unfortunately I will be taking notes if I hear a conversation.
It's good
And
material.
I actually used that in her story. There was a girl that was saying that, and I was like, to have wasted 5 years and not, a lot of them want to be married, they want to be settled. And I could hear the hurt while she was telling her friend, how those 5 years are gone, but she was still hung up over the guy. So I did put that in Nadia's character, and the book begins when she's going to go to a therapy group session.
Mm-hmm.
That actually was a longer section. That was actually one chapter. And I concised it because I was ready to get to the meat of the story. So
Good instinct.
when the first time I wrote it and went to the book club, they enjoyed that. When the final came out, they were like, "Why did you cut that out?" We enjoyed all of the things that they were saying because it gets really raunchy in there. And I said, "I'm just going to make that another whole book." And they were like, "Good," because when you wrote it the first time, we thought we would see those characters again, and I never put them back in because it was just a stepping stone for Nadia to say, I can't tell these people my deep, dark secrets. I need to be around my friends to do that. So I cut that like way short and took her straight into her friends. And then she still didn't really get the support that she needed from her own friends. And then Maximus enters.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so when you think about the structure of novels, like it's a classic bell shape, like that kind of starts low, gets to a peak, and not romance, and comes back down. But when I think about the structure of romance novels, I picture like when you're in the hospital and see the like heartbeat ticker thing, but it's going up. So I think of like your introduction is always your main character kind of at their, I don't want to say lowest point, but a low point that just shows this is my everyday life and what my like either a flaw or a hang up is. And then, it picks up when they meet, you have the meet cute, and they meet the love interest. But then it's like this two-step dance, or in boxing where it's kind of like a retreat. So they start to question, oh, wait, no, I don't want to get my heart broken again, or whatever the hang up is. And so there's like a little bit of a backing off. And so that's exactly what I was looking for in the beginning, in that like, I guess, first act, if you want to think of the book in threes. And then, they get past that and fall in love, and that's in act two. And whatever the core conflict is what we see causing like the bottom to fall out, or the lowest, the rock bottom moment, and where their love is tested. And then in act three, that's where you get your grand gesture and happily ever after, where they figure out what it takes to be together fully. And so going through your manuscript, if I start with the opening, which was what this first question was the things that I look for, and that was like the fantastic first line and an introduction of your main character, the basics of like where is this taking place, and that reference to a conflict. And that's why I was asking about that therapy session, because it seemed unrelated to the rest of the book. But I am really happy to hear that it comes in later in the series.
It does. It was hard to take it out too, because it is actually just as funny as the part that you read aloud. Sharing some very deep, dark sexual frustrations that they're experiencing. And I thought it was funny, but I was like, I'm just ready to get to the meat, so I'm just going to make that another whole book, and those characters will be in it.
Great.
Yeah.
So when Nadia and Max, I'm forgetting now.
Short, yeah.
When they meet, sparks fly, and she has that initial resistance because of that past hurt. So you were saying that the core conflict is getting over that hurt.
It was getting over the hurt, feeling that she could trust someone, and because of the situation, she was in a strange country with a stranger, and they were only there for 7 days. So can she be like another one of her characters and just give it up, go with the flow, and leave it behind? Or is she going to be who she is, which is she gets attached to I would say, a love interest, especially when she sees something in them that could be long term. So that was the initial struggle. And then I think I gave them two conflicts. I don't want to give
Mhm.
much away, but the first conflict does arise when it's time to leave London. And then there's another one that I don't think the readers are going to actually see coming, but happy ever after.
So
Yes.
she gets her, that was going to be one of my questions, was how did you develop the relationship in such a tight window, especially where they weren't forced together. You know, you see that as a trope where sometimes people are forced together, and then you can bring that on, I think, more easily.
Um, a part of that is me. Um, I met my husband at my sister's wedding.
Hmm.
And that night I told my aunt I've met my husband.
Wow.
It was very strange. And he ended up being my husband. Just sometimes, so I kind of like had to go back to that feeling of you see someone, you talk to them, you feel this connection. And we do this a lot of times, and then the person will change over time. But I actually got lucky and I met who he was actually. He wasn't pretending. He was the person I was going to be with. So I had to think back to that time, and I put that as far as the maximum character being someone that she thought, this is it. I could actually see myself making changes for this person.
Hmm.
And then voila, you say the magic happened.
Yeah, and you did a great job writing the everything is perfect peak. And I asked you, I think, in the questions ahead of time, if you thought that it came too early, that usually you'd see that around the midpoint.
Right. And then I know novels are 50,000 words to 80,000 for romance.
Mhm.
I When I cut that first scene, a lot of those 7,000 words were cut, and that's how it ended up being at the 43,000 mark. So it wasn't actually a novel anymore. It falls into the novella category.
Mhm.
So when I saw how much was cut from that first chapter, I was like, yeah, this part where it gets really good, it's like not before you get to halfway through the book.
Mhm.
Travel and stuff.
Uh-oh. Oh no, let's hope you can get back on. Oh, there, good.
I had a phone call. My brother, sorry. I'm sorry.
No worries. So that was the same thing then with the wallow that I was going to ask for, is like, I love a good low where you feel like, how can the author possibly make this work out? Like, I just can't see it coming. Did you struggle to crush Nadia and give her a real super low?
I did. It's, I guess, nerdy or girly or whatever you want. I actually cry with some of my characters.
Hmm.
Um, but I can be I guess, a naughty person as well. Cause like I look at some of those housewives shows, I don't cry when they go through drama because I don't like them and I could care less. But if I like my characters, I actually cry when they go through something. So when I broke her heart and devastated her, I went back to me being devastated. And
Hmm.
I did cry, and that's how the emotion came into actually explaining why she felt the way she felt. And it wasn't going to be a happy ever after. But people that read romance, they want that happy ever after.
You must deliver. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, well, this has to be, there's a lot more I want to put to this, and it's not going to fit in one book. So I'm going to go with the series to do everything. So the heartbreak will, return, but you still get your HEA.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's how you know you wrote her well, if you can relate, if you feel her pain.
I felt
That's
her pain,
great.
feel somebody else's pain in the sequel, but that'll be for you to hit me in a note and say, "What are you doing?" And I apologize in advance.
No apologies necessary. So great job hitting the genre expectations and the conventions, and delivering a stellar declaration of love with the grand gesture. Um, I wanted to hear more about how you handled the HEA, knowing that it was a first book in a series.
Um, you've read it, so you know how it ends. For someone
Mhm.
who hasn't finished it, I won't say how we get the HEA, but I was actually going to what she does in book two. I was actually going to have her do in book one, which is she kind of loses her marbles. Um, and I was actually happy with it because
Mhm.
I know what heartbreak is. And I missed my Maximus. I missed him terribly when I was writing him off and putting him to shame because he hurt my character. But I knew he was coming back. That connection was too strong to just say, okay, we can't explore this.
Yeah, they're not finished yet. So
That's
sounds good.
just,
So viewers, if you like this interview, please share it now and follow for more. And we just have a couple more questions. At least I only have a few more questions to ask about what's in the future and what's next. But we're willing to take questions from the people following as well. Um, Let me just get this
I
up here
think
and I'll
I
go.
answered.
Say it again.
Was it Mal? What was the first question? Was it her name Mallory?
Melody.
Melody, she had a two-part question. She said she had a suggestion from my friend Trish, but I don't think we got to it.
Oh, I think
If
she
she
was
wants,
asking if Trish was one of your friends that is in the book. Or are your friends in?
okay. Some of her banter is yes.
Perfect. Yeah, so tell us what's next. What are you currently working on?
The revisions to book two and book three, which are going to fall in your lap. As far as a new project, I don't know if you would be interested. There's not a lot of romance, but it's considered a women's fiction.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty rough. That's all I can say. And then I actually have my first YA that I'm working on. I got inspired to do that because uh, I don't know. I don't want to say the name, but there's a book with these teenage girls that I just don't find it to be realistic. I mean, it is,
Mm,
and I don't think there's a lot that represent um, groups of African American Black girls growing up in high school and middle school and what we go through. So I'm actually developing my first YA with that, but the women's fiction I just couldn't get out of my head. So I'm finishing that one first. I think I'm at 41,000, but I still have like four more chapters I think I need to write to finish that one. That one will definitely pass
awesome.
the 1,000 mark. The YA I think is going to end up being a series because there are five main characters. So I
Hmm.
characters should get a book per person.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Sounds good. So, what question should I have asked that you'd like to answer for readers that I did not ask?
Um, hmm. I talked enough about my husband. Let's see. We've talked about me. I've never really been this shy. This is like a new character trait for me.
Trying it on for size.
I,
See if she's a keeper.
so I really don't know if there's much more about me I want to say. Is there something you think you forgot to ask?
No, I think we did a great job. I think the most important question. Oh wait, before I skip ahead here. And hey, Sabrina, thank you so much for joining. We've got. Do you now or plan to in the future to write other genres?
Yes, the women's fiction is next. The
Mhm,
YA, and then I am going to do that reverse harem. She's going crazy in my head right now. I just haven't identified what I want her to look like, but I see the things that she's doing, which is not good.
mhm.
I was going to use that one. And I actually do have two children's books, but I wouldn't put them under my name because of the
You
steam.
want to keep it separate.
Yeah.
Yep, makes perfect sense.
So let's just say that's like four or five genres. Mhm.
Awesome. So, how can readers discover more about you and your work? Where should they look for more of you?
Um, Actually, I'm everywhere. I finally got my situation fixed with iBooks last night. So I'm finally on iBooks. I'm on Amazon. I'm on Google Play, BookBub, Kobo, and Instagram and Twitter. I'm not a big Facebook person. I delete my account and come back when my mom makes me log on to see something. Um, and I enjoy being in the vault. but it's not like an app. I don't have the app on my phone. I actually log into my computer to go to Facebook. It's just
Interesting.
my favorite app. But for some reason, the writers groups are there,
Yep.
and they're like a million romantic groups. So I'm a member of those. So I'll be in there from time to time, but you'll find
Mhm.
me mainly on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you so much. This was fun, and I really appreciate you participating and doing this with me.
Hope I,
To connect with, oh,
the whole,
sorry, say it again.
I hope I did good. I feel like I've been lopsided on my camera the whole time.
You did great. So to connect with TK, visit www.tkrichards.com, and to connect with me, check out www.revisiondivision.com, and I will sign off and leave you with a little clip to say goodnight. Thank you. Awesome.